Hey there, Heather Boyd here, and we are counting down 7 days until Christmas with some last minute DIY Christmas cards. I'm going to be using all kinds of mixed media, and you can check out the playlist of tutorials in the description below the video. Today I'm making a snowflake card that you can use watercolor and wire, or if you prefer, you can just use paper for the snowflake. I've taped down a piece of 140-pound watercolor paper, and I am using different shades of blue, and I am just going in with a larger brush and working the wet paint into the wet paint, just doing large strokes beside each other, trying not to mix them too much, but they will bleed in together. You can just go in with a wet brush after to blend them out a little bit more. Just clean your brush and bring it in to blend the colors a little bit more, so we still have some white spaces in the background. And we're going to keep going until we're happy with how it looks. We want the paint to be quite wet, and you can keep it light or you can go a little bit darker, and then we want to right away put on some salt so we could get that nice textured salt effect. So once it's dry, we're going to remove all the salt. Use a soft cloth if you need to. Make sure the paint is super dry, and then we are going to remove the paint from the paper, and I ended up having to trim it to the square shape. And we're just going to remove that. And then to make a snowflake, you can either do it by eye or using the Artistic Wire Deluxe Jig Kit. Like I said, this is totally optional. If you prefer to cut a snowflake out of paper, you can. If you have a stencil, you can stencil on a snowflake. If you have different stickers or cutouts, just use your imagination with how you want to do the snowflakes. I did one snowflake, but you can also do multiple ones. So I just did one of the arms of the snowflake, and then I moved it around to do the next one. And this is a very basic snowflake design. I have other tutorials on my Heather Boyd wire channel that I'll link up to make the wire snowflakes. And we're just going to go in and make the 6 sides of the snowflake, remove it from the jig, and then we're going to take our nylon jaw pliers just to push the wires together so they're a little more flat, a little more finished. So once we've done all the adjustments with that, we're going to line up all the arms of the snowflake. Take that long end and wind it around midway. Then we're going to take our flush cutters and clip the first end of the wire, and then we'll just pinch it in so there's no pokey ends. And then we are going to take the other end and wind it around each branch of the snowflake. So we want to curve it in between, and once we get to the end, we can clip it. You could have actually used that end to poke into the greeting card, but we can attach it with separate wires. You can also use these as earrings or ornaments. So now I'm going to just make little wire U's with a thin 24 gauge wire. Make sure the snowflake is adjusted how you want. Place it on the card. Get a pin to poke a couple of little holes so we could put our U wires in there. So just poke those holes in there, make sure that they're clean, and now we are going to stick the little U's in there to hold the snowflake on the background. So just hold it in position, place the wire U on opposite sides of the snowflake, push them right in, flip it over, and then push the ends of the wires down flat on the back of the card. So this will ensure that the snowflake holds in place when we glue it onto our cardstock. So that's nicely positioned, ready to go. And now if you want to make a paper snowflake, I'll link up some other tutorials on how to cut the paper snowflakes. So we need to fold it, cut it across, and then I'm just going to freehand cut different shapes, make sure it's nice and flat. So now we are going to just cut out our snowflake. We used to do these at school. It's a little trickier when they're small like this. Be careful that you don't cut right through. We want to cut out as much as we can to make it into a nice, delicate snowflake. So just take your time with it. I'm not really using a pattern for this. I'm just going for it, but there are a lot of beautiful designs online for cutting some snowflakes. So just use your imagination, have fun with it, and like I said, just be very careful that you don't cut right through all the layers or you'll have to start again. I did a few prototypes before I made this one, and I'm really just doing very simple cutouts. So keep going until you have as much cutout as you want. And one last little cut. And then we are going to remove all the little bits, and then we can open it up. So just open up the snowflake. Be careful that it doesn't tear. This is just computer paper. You can use any lightweight paper you like. So we've opened it up, and now I put some matte medium on the paper, and I'm just going to do a very light coat of matte medium. I'm just doing this on a scrap paper. Work quickly with this because it will dry fast. Very thin coat of matte medium, and then we're going to pick it up. You could also use glue as long as your glue is not too thick. And then we are going to put it down carefully on the paper. We don't want the watercolor to run, so we're just going to place it down on top of the watercolor. That's dry, of course. Tap it down with your fingers. And to make sure it's firmly in place, put a sheet of wax paper and really rub it down so all the little ends are firmly in place. And there is your finished card with the paper snowflake. You can add a sequin if you want. And there's the one with the wire snowflake. Thanks so much for watching the video. Be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for lots more art videos. If you would like to join my private Facebook group, I have a group where people can share photos of their work based on my tutorials or your own mixed media artwork. Stay tuned. In the new year, I will be having all kinds of 10-day mixed media art challenges. And if you like wire art and jewelry, you could hop over to my other channel, Heather Boyd Wire, for all kinds of wire art and wire jewelry making tutorials. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you the next time.